Hi viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today in this session I have Rabindranath Tagore particular, and you know that Rabindranath Tagore as an Indian we should be proud of such a great poet of all times who got the Nobel Prize for his Geetanjali, a collection of poems. Here is a picture of the first edition. It has with an introduction by W.B. Yeats also. You know, Geetanjali is considered one of the classic in the making in Indian literature, and it has been appreciated far and wide throughout the world. It is concerned. So, as an Indian, we should be proud of great poet Rabindranath Tagore. Let us see in his Geetanjali, one of the poem, what he has to say for us. Right. Further, moving further, we have great personalities of Indian origin. We have SwamyVivekananda, his greatest statement: "Arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached." Great statement given by SwamyVivekananda. Further, we have greatest Kannada poet and who got the Jnanapita Award. He has given us a very good concept, a Vishwamanava concept, Anikethana'whole, the whole world as a family. Further, we have Descartes. Okay, he is a great philosopher, and his reasoning, the rational awakening concept, can be highlighted in one of his greatest statement of all times. I think, therefore I am. I think as an individual, which has led into the whole new concept, paradigm shift with reasoning, logic, rational thinking. Let us see this Descartes and earlier SwamyVivekananda as well as DrKuvempu, how it has been all interrelated. Now, once again, Rabindranath Tagore, great Indian poet of all times, Nobel Prize awardee. His poem, "Where the Mind is Without Fear." This is the poem. I took it for a discussion today. Let us see Rabindranath Tagore as well as earlier statements, how they are all connected, interlinked. And now we have the poem, Rabindranath Tagore's "Where the Mind is Without Fear." This is the first line as well as the title of the poem, "Where the Mind is Without Fear." So the poet is concentrating on the mind, individual mind. Mind is without fear. When the poem has been written, India was under the British rule. So it is a prayer as well as a patriotic poem also. The theme is related to that, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Head, individual, our perceptions. So the poet is trying to talk to the individual minds, Indians in particular. And what is his expectation? From this poem we can understand Rabindranath Tagore is expecting each individual, each Indian, where the mind is without fear. So he is trying to create such a India, such a nation where the mind is without fear, fear of here British as such, and the head is held high, head, our individual perceptions, everything. So we don't require anybody's control. Where the knowledge is free, knowledge, knowing, understanding is free. Free, once again the thought is there, India under the clutches of British, that part is there. So the poet is highlighting we Indians are not free that way. So that concept is highlighted, where once again, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Now the concept of DrKuvempu, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Broken into fragments, it is casteism. I know that India was divided and being ruled by the British, where casteism, the people divided in terms of religion, caste has been more and more highlighted by the British. See that where world has not been broken into fragments, world. So the concept of India and into the world also, what Rabindranath Tagore is trying to tell, the whole world has not been broken into fragments. So the poet is expecting a world where there is unity, where all people live together, like the earlier concept of DrKuvempu, Vishwamanava concept, the whole world as a family, that part, where it is not divided in terms of caste, religion and all that. By narrow domestic walls, narrow or mean mentality, narrow-mindedness, okay, where the words come out from the depth of truth. Words, our individual ideas, whole ideas will come out from the depth of truth. That's what is the word Rabindranath Tagore is aiming at in this poem. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Tireless, non-stop working, hard work and all, striving, making us, taking us into the path where we don't require any type of restrictions. Its arms towards perfection. This is the perfection Rabindranath Tagore is aiming at in this poem. So he wanted to take all the Indians, the nation India, from clutches of British into a free world where freedom is required, and the whole world not divided in terms of caste, not divided in terms of religion. The poet is highlighting here. Now moving further, in the next stanza, Rabindranath Tagore is trying to tell, where the clear stream of reasoning has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. So what is this all about? The clear stream of reason. The poet is expecting each individual, each Indian to have a clear stream of reasoning, analyzing situations, has not lost its way. The poet is aiming at that. Into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Dead habits, it can be the customs, superstitions, blind beliefs. So the poet, in addition, expects the Indians to come out of all those superstitions, come out of all those negative compulsions, and he wants the people to go into the world of reasoning, analyzing things in a rational way, reasoning that way. The concept of Descartes is being highlighted. I think therefore I am. So that concept, I think as a student we can understand here in this line. So the poet Rabindranath Tagore expects each individual to analyze, think in an impartial way, think beyond the restrictions and move in further into the path of the success. Similarly, that negative compulsions, inhibitions, superstitions also the poet expects Indians to move away from. Further, in the last stanza, where the mind is led forward by thee. Now in this particular last stanza, the concept of Almighty, God has been highlighted here. The poet is appealing to the God. What he is trying to tell as a true believer, where the mind is led forward by thee. Thee means the Almighty God. So he is appealing to the God. He is appealing to the Almighty, all powerful, into ever widening thought and action. So ever widening thought and action into that heaven of freedom. My Father, let my country awake. So what the poet is trying to tell, he is appealing to the Almighty God, led forward by thee, you. So you have to come to our rescue and you have to take us, all the Indians, with proper reasoning and all, into ever widening thought. Ever widening, we Indians have been divided by the British in terms of caste and with so many negative compulsions, then superstitions, we are already doomed. So he is appealing to the God into ever widening thought and action. It is also can be now the thought of SwamyVivekananda is coming into picture now. What is that? Ever widening thought. So awake, arise, never stop, that way. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father. So freedom, it is very clear now. The poet, being a patriotic in this particular the theme, is requesting, is making an appeal to the Almighty, my Father, the Almighty, let my country awake, awake. So now it is a situation, now it is now or never almost, where the poet is appealing to all the Indians, let my country awake. Country awake, it is only possible when the people here awake. They awake from their deep slumber. Let them awake with reasoning, with an understanding and considering the whole world as a unit, away from the casteism and all that. And then we can move further into the path of success. That's what. So finally in the last stanza, the poet is appealing to the Almighty, the God, where only it is the God, and by His grace we can move into the path of success, perfection. Finally, I have compiled some of the important statements in the poem where the mind is without fear. Let's see. So the very thought, mind without fear, head held high. So this is one of the very important predominant theme Rabindranath Tagore is stressing upon. Mind without fear, head held high. So he is appealing to the Indians to come out of the clutches of, he is appealing to the strong reasoning of Indians. Okay, that's very important. Knowledge free. So he wants to appeal to the intellectuals. So he is thinking that India can come out of the clutches of British only when Indians awake. That is what is the thought is all about. Then the poet also appeals to world with not broken fragments, narrow walls. So that's where the concept of Kuvempu, great Kannada poet, Jnanapita Award, Rashtrakavi, it comes. That is Kuvempu's Avanana Chaitana Agoni Anikethana. That is the Anikethana concept. The whole world as a one family unit is being, so that is being highlighted here, Rabindranath Tagore. So the poet is appealing, or he is hoping that India is going to become such a nation, as well as it includes, what is that, a world, it includes not broken fragments. Let us come out, let us be united, let us not fight in terms of caste, religion and all that. Okay, narrow mindsets. Let us come out of the inhibitions and let us come out of all those superstitious beliefs also further. Okay, that's what the Kuvempu's concept comes. Next, further moving in the poem, we find another important line. Words, poet is expecting the Indians should have the words with clear truth, clear reasoning part, clear stream of reasoning, where Descartes' logic and reasoning comes. Descartes, a great philosopher who has given us a statement, I think therefore I am. So the poet expects all the Indians to think, reason, rationally analyze the situations, and that is the only way we can come out of the British clutches. Then further, the poet also tells the mind led ever widening thoughts. Mind should be led with thoughts which is ever widening. We should increase our horizons. That's what once again now the SwamyVivekananda's concept, that is my country awake. So what is the thought? The poet Rabindranath Tagore is appealing to the Almighty to make his country awake. How it is possible? Only the people who are living here are awake. That's what SwamyVivekananda also stresses further in his statement. Awake, arise, never stop till you reach the goal. Almost on the similar lines, Rabindranath Tagore is way upfront, implicit in his thought of what is that. He expects Indians to widen their horizon, widen their thoughts. That is a thought as well as action. That should be clear, crystal clear. That's what. Then only we can go away from or move away from the clutches of British further. So the poet is entirely a prayer, almost a patriotic song, where the poet is highlighting on my country awake. So he is expecting the Almighty to make his country awake. How it is possible? Only when Indians, so India can awake, India can come out of the deep slumber and fight against the British. Only when Indians are awake. That is the main stress. It is the main bottom line of the entire poem, where the mind is held high. So he is appealing to the Almighty to make Indians awake, come out of the deep slumber further. Okay, that's what. And finally, I think as a student of literature, I have compiled some of the important thought once again further. The poem is entirely a patriotic prayer. Rabindranath Tagore's great poem, which is in collection of Geetanjali, it is considered one of the best in the making, classic in the making. As an Indian, we should be proud. So the poem is nothing but a poetic prayer, appealing to all the Indians to analyze, reason out. That's it. Then only we can be free, as well as freedom is possible. So the poet is highlighting on this important thought. India can be free, freedom can be achieved only when we use our reasoning power, only when we can rationally analyze. Okay, that is the Rabindranath Tagore's utopia, ideal situation. A very important thought, value is being highlighted. This poem, where the mind is without fear, Rabindranath Tagore is contemporary according to me, because it can widen our view, our horizons in our life, so that we can move towards better living. So even today this poem seems to be so meaningful, which the thoughts are so interesting, important in our life, because it helps us to analyze rationally, look beyond the superstitious beliefs, blind beliefs and all our inhibitions, all our negative thoughts we need to leave, and we need to move further. Even today this poem can be so meaningful, which helps us to live better and move further towards the success, path of success. So of course this poem has been used by Rabindranath Tagore earlier as a prayer, as a patriotic, almost like a prayer, appealing to the Indians as well as to the Almighty to help them, to help India to come out of the clutches of British, by helping the Indians to analyze, think rationally, of course. But even today this theme can be utilized, can be made use of as a student of literature. The interpretation of Rabindranath Tagore is meaningful and useful for all the literature lovers all over the world, and I hope my presentation will help a student of literature to analyze great classics, not only Indian, almost all great classics of all the world also, and hopefully my interpretation will make literature lovers to come back to English literature very often. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.